Bobsleigh or bobsled is a winter sport in which teams of 2 to 4 athletes make timed runs down narrow, twisting, banked, iced tracks in a gravity-powered sleigh. International bobsleigh competitions are governed by the International Bobsleigh and Skeleton Federation, formerly the FIBT. The first bobsleds were built in the late 19th century in St. Moritz, Switzerland, by wealthy tourists from Victorian Britain who were staying at the Palace Hotel owned by Caspar Badrut. The early sleds were adapted from boys' delivery sleds and toboggans. These eventually evolved into bobsleighs, luges and skeletons. Initially the tourists would race their hand-built contraptions down the narrow streets of St. Moritz. However, as collisions increased, growing opposition from St. Moritz residents led to bobsledding being eventually banned from public highways. In the winter of 1884, Badrut had a purpose-built run constructed near the hamlet of Cresta. The Cresta Run remains the oldest in the world and is the home of the St. Moritz Tobogganing Club. It has hosted 2 Olympic Winter Games and as of 2022 was still in use. Modern bobsleigh teams compete to complete a downhill route in the fastest times. An aggregate time from several runs is used to determine the winners. The 4-man event has been featured since the first Winter Games in 1924 in Chamonix, France. The only exception was the 1960 Games in Squaw Valley, when the organizing committee decided not to build a track to reduce costs. The 2-man event was introduced at the 1932 Games and a 2-woman event was first contested at the 2002 Winter Olympics. The women's monobob event was introduced in the 2022 Games. Although sledding on snow or ice had long been popular in many northern countries, the origins of bobsleighing as a modern sport are relatively recent. It developed after hotelier Caspar Badrut, 1848 to 1904, convinced some wealthy English regular guests to remain through the entire winter at his hotel in the mineral spa town of St. Moritz, Switzerland. He had been frustrated that his hotel was only busy during the summer months. By keeping his guests entertained with food, alcohol and activities, he quickly established the concept of winter resorting. Within a few years, wintering at Badrut's St. Moritz Hotel became very fashionable in Victorian Britain. However, with increased numbers this led some guests to search for new diversions. In the early 1870s some adventurous Englishmen began adapting boys' delivery sleds for recreational purposes. However, when they began colliding with pedestrians in the icy lanes, alleyways and roads of St. Moritz, this led to the invention of steering means for the sleds. The basic bobsleigh, bobsled, consisted of 2 crestas, skeleton sleds, attached together with a board that had a steering mechanism at the front. The ability to steer meant the sleds could make longer runs through the town. Longer runs also meant higher speeds on curves. Local sentiment about these informal competitions varied, but eventually complaints grew so vociferous that Badrut had to do something. His solution, in the late 1870s, was to build a basic natural ice run for his guests outside the town near the small hamlet named Cresta. He took action because he did not want to make enemies in the town, and he had worked hard and invested a lot of time and money in popularizing wintering in St. Moritz, so he was not going to let boredom induce customers not to visit the area. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the next video you want to see.